My hair is absolutely wild. It kind of hurts in this ponytail, but am I gonna take it out? Absolutely not. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Jordan Paige, but a lot of people call me JP or Jordy, or they call me Jordan Paige. Anyway, hi, welcome. As you can tell by the title of this video, we are talking about my childhood autism traits. Now, a really quick backstory. I was not diagnosed until February of 2021, so I was 19. So all of these things we did not realize were potentially autistic traits until I was 19. I'm going to be splitting up this video into two parts since there is a lot. This first video is going to be ages 1 through 10, and the other one is going to be ages basically 11 to now. There's going to be a few that overlap, so some that I mention in this video that actually also apply to the next one, and some that I talk about in the next one that kind of also apply to this one. So I suggest watching both if you really want to kind of get the full idea, but if you also just want to watch one, that's cool too. So let's get right into it. Ages from birth until age 10. As a baby, I hated movement. I hated the car, I hated the bouncy seat, I hated anything that moved. I only just wanted to be held. That was it. My biggest thing, this kind of is an overarching one, I have always hated loud noises, and they've always been very, very stressful for me, very overstimulating. I had to wear earplugs in preschool pretty much every single day, and I also had to wear them whenever I went to events. I still do that now. My mom actually wrote in one of my baby books one time that there were dogs barking at one point, and I was hysterical. Like, not hysterical as in funny, I was in hysterics. And also, please, I apologize for the cat. This is my housemate's cat, Keanu. Loud noises, especially in a setting where people are supposed to be quiet, is probably, there's another one, probably one of my biggest issues in general. That's something that is, I mean, at a moment's notice, extremely overstimulating. As a note, I do want to say my mom did talk to a professional when I was in preschool and tried to call someone and tell them about how I hated noises and I didn't do well with them and I would cry and stress out and whatever. And the person on the phone told her, oh, she just sounds like a kid who doesn't like loud noises. So thank you to that doctor for not potentially thinking that something was off, because I probably may have been diagnosed sooner. Next, I had one temper tantrum in a store. One. Just one. The reason why I think this is potentially was an autistic trait is because I have a feeling I was observing other kids my age, other people, other children in the store, and would see them throw a temper tantrum when they want something. And so I thought, oh, I'll try it out. But then when it didn't work, I was like, oh, well, that didn't work. So I never did it again. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I cracked my head open on the piano when I was maybe around 2 or 3, and I didn't cry. My brother literally was like holding my head together as we were driving to the hospital, and I didn't cry. I broke my arm for the second time. Sorry, I broke my elbow for the second time when I was 4. I broke it first when I was, 2, 3, 4, something in the span of 2 to 4 years old. I broke my elbow twice, the same one, my left elbow. And, I fell asleep in the doctor's office because I just wasn't painful, I guess. My pain tolerance has always been really, really high. There are multiple times that I will accidentally cut myself or something and all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm bleeding. And that is something that some people, some autistic people, struggle with. In ballet class, I was in ballet at 4 years old, and I could never understand why the other girls couldn't just follow directions. Why could they not just sit down and be quiet when the teacher asked them to? And I asked my mom this. She was like, I don't understand. Why can't they just do what Miss Nikki says? And that stayed for a while. And even now, sometimes I do not understand why people can't just do what they're asked to do, especially if it was in a school setting. And I was like, why can you not just sit down and shut up when you're asked to? I don't understand. I am extremely empathetic, and this has been ever since I was a kid, especially because at the dance recital of that dance class when I was 4, a girl sat and started crying on stage, and I sat and cried on stage because I felt bad that she was crying. So you may know that for people who are autistic, they have special interests. Some reasons why girls are not diagnosed until much later in life is because some of their special interests can be a lot more common than some boys with boys who are autistic, their special interests. For example, from something I read one time, said that a common special interest of girls on the spectrum is reading. Dun da da da! I have always loved reading and writing. Literally, as soon as I could start to read, I was reading books. As soon as I could start to write, I was writing stories. I'm still a huge reader. I have a bookshelf over here. I have 2 bookshelves here. I have over 300 books in these bookshelves right now. Like, a lot. And I'm literally a screenwriter. So a special interest turned out to be my passion, but it definitely started very, very young. I had trouble learning how to tie my shoes, actually. I could not tie my shoes with the 2 bunny method. Couldn't do it. Still can't. It took a neighbor to teaching me a different way with only 1 loop. To learn how to do it. And even still now, sometimes when I go to tie them, my hands, like, it takes me a few tries because I can't get it correct. I don't know if that's exactly an autistic trait, but I couldn't figure it out. Couldn't do it. After reading a book or watching something I liked, I would adapt traits of that character. A lot of times it wasn't super obvious, but one of the obvious ones was I had a Garfield phase. Garfield the cat. I painted my room orange, which orange is still my favorite color to this day. And this is kind of embarrassing to admit. I would act like a cat when no one was home. I would crawl around. I would eat food out of a bowl. That's what I did. I had a speech impediment. Basically all throughout elementary school, I could not pronounce my R's correctly. They came out as W's.
We're heading to the mall. This is what's outside right now.
And I think that's why I am told I speak very well now. When I was younger, I had some fixations. And these fixations, the movie Annie, I would ask my mom if I could wash the windows every single time I watched Annie. When I was younger, I would act out Peter Pan in front of the TV. The Kathy Rigby recorded theatrical performance of Peter Pan is my favorite. I also used to touch everything in the store. My parents would call me hands because I would just run my hands over everything. I did collect. I collected stuffed animals. I collected stuffed animals for a long time. Claw machines were my thing. I will still play a claw machine. Probably not as good as I was when I was 7, but I will still play them. It took me until I was about 15 or 16 to stop really kind of collecting them, but I still love them a lot. I had a very sensitive scalp, so complete opposite of not being able to feel the pain sometimes from hits and stuff. Very, very sensitive scalp. It's less sensitive now, but there were tears because my hair would get tangled very, very easily. And yeah, there were lots of tears that came with brushing my hair, and I hated it. Oh, I'm a very picky eater. Oh my goodness. Extremely picky eater. Still am now. There are very, when you think about it, out of all the foods in the world, there's a very, very small number of foods that I would eat back then and that I still won't eat now. I was always very specific about time. And my mom was like, we're leaving. She'd be like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. I'd be like, no, it's 9:54. I'm still this way a little bit, but especially when I was younger. I was very shy. Lots of people are probably going to be surprised to hear me say that. I was extremely shy until I was about 7. When I got into theater, it completely opened up this new world for me, which also I think opened up the world of masking, because I realized that there were these different characters that you could portray, and I think I started taking bits and pieces of different characters and starting to figure out what kind of worked in these situations, and I think that's kind of what really started that. Big one, I did not play with my toys how they should be played with. Got a few examples of this. One, if you remember Littlest Pet Shop, yeah, I did not play with those. I would line them up, I would squish their heads, and then I would put them all back in the container. For Polly Pockets, I would not play with those either. I would not create outfits either. I would put on each individual piece of clothing or each individual pair of shoes and then put them off to the side. And once I was done, I would put them all back in the box. I took DVDs and our VHS tapes out of their boxes and containers, and I stacked them. And yeah, I did that for fun. That was something I did for fun. I did it often. This was another thing my mom asked our pediatrician. Keep in mind, I'm probably around 9 years old, 8, 9 years old when I started doing this. And my mom asked our pediatrician and was like, is this like, this is kind of what she's doing? And pediatrician didn't say anything, said it was fine. Well, it was fine. I don't think many kids did that though. So with Legos, if it was a Lego set that came with instructions, I would obviously follow those instructions to build it. But if it was just loose Legos, I would stack them. Like I would stack the 2x2s together, the 2x4s together, you know, all of those same types together into these stacks, and then I would take them all apart. And then I would put them back in the container. That was extra fun because it would usually take me a few days, and I love that. I did not color pictures. I don't think there is ever a picture I actually drew on my own that is an actual picture. Plenty of photos of these. So I would either put stickers. I loved stickers. I would either put stickers all over the page, or I would draw patterns, and I would take whatever I was using, was it markers or crayons or whatever, I would take those and I would use it once, and then I would line them up. I'd put them in a line. I would never use one twice, and then I would put them all back in. One that I don't have photos of, but one of them was squares. I would do squares like all throughout the page with the different colors, would never use the same marker or crayon twice. And for some reason we can't find those, but it was always patterns. Oh, I had a really hard time adapting from preschool to kindergarten. I would cry for the first few weeks of kindergarten. I would cry because it took me a while to get used to it. My kindergarten teacher was fantastic, by the way. Shout out to Miss Jatan, you're the best. And we are still friends to this day. We still talk and everything. So she's the best. I had a saying that I didn't say it rudely. My saying was, if I said something my parents didn't really understand, my response was, well, if you had a brain like mine, you'd understand. Really? If you had a brain like mine, you'd understand. I was very clumsy as a kid. I've gotten better, but I still do struggle with balance. I didn't wear jeans until like middle school because I hated the feel of them. Instead, I did those jeggings, the ones that were like the legging material, but they looked like jeans. Those are what I did. And lastly, I was a very strict rule follower. I was the annoying shush person. I was teacher's pet. I didn't mean to be, but it just always happened. The whole 9 yards, everything. I was that kid, but it's not because I was trying to annoy everyone. It is because genuinely I was constantly stressed. I hated, that's another thing. Can't believe I almost didn't put that there. I hated lunch at school. My literal least favorite thing in the world. We also had music. We had music that would turn on and you had to be quiet during the music. I didn't have a problem being quiet during the music, but every other kid did. And I was so afraid. I was so afraid that my class would get in trouble. So I was the shush kid. I would shush everyone, and it wasn't because I was trying to be annoying. It's because genuinely I was so worked up, and I used to beg my mom to come in and have lunch with me every single day. Obviously she couldn't, but every single day, because I hated it so much. It was the most stressful thing. I do honestly think that was a traumatic experience for me. I hate cafeterias. I want nothing to do with them. And that's it for the first part of this video. Thanks so much for watching. The next part will be basically ages 11 until now. So yeah, thanks again for watching. All of my social media is down in the description. I am always open to any questions. If you have any questions you would like to ask me about, whether it be about autistic traits or autism in general or writing or anything, please feel free to contact me on any of my social media. And thanks so much again for watching, and I will see you in whatever video you watch of mine next. Bye.